You want to change your life? Start by changing the lens you see it through. Not your income, not your body, not your schedule. Start with the lens, because nothing changes on the outside until something shifts on the inside. Gratitude is that shift. It's not weak, it's not soft, it's not spiritual fluff or feel-good nonsense. Gratitude is power. It's spiritual armor. It's mental leverage. It's the decision to command your state instead of letting the world write your mood for you. And it starts simple. It starts now. It starts with this. Write down 3 things you're grateful for. Not someday. Not when you have more time. Not when things feel better. Now, before the world invades. Before the chaos creeps in. Before doubt, comparison, pressure, and fear take the wheel. You see, most people spend their entire lives waiting for something big to be grateful for. But they don't realize, gratitude is not the effect. It's the cause, it's what opens doors. It's what shifts momentum. It's what turns your attention away from everything you lack toward everything you already have and haven't been using, because you're not stuck. You're just staring in the wrong direction. You think you need a breakthrough, but what you really need is a better baseline. And gratitude? That's the baseline of champions. The baseline of resilient minds, grounded hearts, unstoppable leaders. Not because their lives are easier, but because they've trained themselves to see the beauty that's already there and build from it. Not from the pain, not from the pressure, from presence. You want to feel wealthy? Start by counting what can't be bought. You want confidence? Start by remembering what you've already overcome. You want joy? Then stop waiting for perfect conditions and start harvesting the value of now. Write it down. Not in your head. Not in theory. Write it down. Because there's something powerful about putting pen to paper. It makes your subconscious pay attention. It says, this is real, this matters, this is mine. And it doesn't have to be dramatic, it doesn't have to be poetic, it just has to be true. What are you grateful for right now? The breath in your lungs? The fact that you woke up today when millions didn't? That one friend who still checks? In the lesson you learned from that heartbreak. The pain that didn't break you, it built you. See, gratitude isn't passive. It's aggressive clarity. It's saying, I'm not blind. I see what's here. I honor what's here. Because what you appreciate expands. Appreciate your strength and you'll use it more. Appreciate your time and you'll stop wasting it. Appreciate your opportunities and you'll start showing up for them like they matter. But when you ignore what's good, you start to believe nothing is. You feed a story that says you're behind, you're broken, you're empty, you're not enough. And that story? It's a lie, and you know it. But the only way to silence that lie is to shine the light on what's already working. Gratitude is not delusion, it's perspective, it's truth, and truth sets you free. Free from envy, free from anxiety, free from the disease of never enough. You want freedom? Pick up the pen. Write 3 things every day, without fail, before the excuses kick in, before the world spins your attention off course, because that pen in your hand is more powerful than the doubt in your mind. It's your weapon, your compass, your anger. 3 things. Write them down. Train your mind to notice them, because when you practice gratitude, you don't just feel better, you perform better. Science proves it, so does history. Lincoln practiced gratitude in the middle of war. Carnegie wrote thank you notes every morning. Oprah journals her blessings. Marcus Aurelius meditated on what he had, not what he lacked. Legends know you don't wait for greatness to feel grateful, you become grateful. And greatness follows. So you, right now, don't wait for something magical to happen. Make the moment you're already in magical. It's not what you have. It's what you see. It's not the size of the thing. It's the depth of the meaning. You attach to it. Your coffee can be a moment of peace. Your morning walk can be a reminder of movement. Your pain can be proof of resilience. Your breath can be the beginning of belief, but only if you choose to see it. So stop scrolling for miracles and start documenting your reality with gratitude as your lens. 3 things, that's all it takes to shift your state, to begin a new internal standard. To say, no matter what the world throws at me, I will always find something to stand on. Because Gratitude doesn't ignore pain, it outgrows it. It doesn't pretend the struggle isn't real. It reminds you that so are you. So are your wins. So are your people. So is your strength. Write it down. 3 things. Every morning. Every day. Because the person who writes them starts to become someone new. Someone grounded. Someone strong. Someone that no algorithm, no news headline, no external chaos can shake. Someone who wakes up with power, because they've trained their mind to find the gold before they go mining, for more. This is how momentum begins, not with a massive breakthrough, but with a small shift. Repeat it until it becomes who you are, and it starts now. Because when you make this a daily ritual, you don't just write down what's good, you retrain your nervous system to look for it. You hardwire your brain to shift out of survival mode and into creation mode. And that's where the real magic lives. See, most people are addicted to survival. They wake up every morning and immediately start scanning for what's wrong, what they lack, what they missed, what's broken, what might go wrong today. But you start with what's right. You start by declaring, I already have something, I already am something, I already see something that matters. And that declaration, that focus, isn't just emotional, it's chemical. It rewires your biology. Gratitude lowers cortisol, lowers stress. It balances your hormones, your blood pressure, your immune system. It regulates your heart. It calms your nervous system. It makes your thinking sharper, your decision-making cleaner, your leadership more precise. And here's what no one tells you. Gratitude isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a performance enhancer. Athletes use it. Fortune 500 CEOs use it. Top performers in every industry build rituals around it because they understand if you don't command your internal world, the external one will eat you alive. Gratitude is not passive, it's preparation. It sets your internal thermostat for resilience. So when life hits you, when things don't go your way, when pressure builds, when people fail you, when the storm shows up, you don't collapse. Because you've been practicing emotional strength every single morning. Gratitude is that strength, not flashy, not loud, not always dramatic, but solid. Stable, unshakable. It's like building emotional armor, one brick at a time. Every day you write down what you're grateful for, you lay another brick, another layer of perspective, another line of defense against the chaos of life. And the more you build that wall, the less you need to run, the less you need to fake it, the less you need to escape. Because now you have a fortress within you, a place to stand on when the winds hit. And they will hit. Life will test you. It'll throw curveballs, heartbreak, failure, delay. It'll blindside you with disappointment. It'll shake the ground under your feet, but gratitude plants you. It roots you. It doesn't stop the storm. It anchors you through it. Because it reminds you of what's still here, of what you haven't lost, of what you've already made it through. And sometimes, that's all you need. One moment of clarity, one breath, one sentence. To remember that not everything is falling apart. Some things are still standing. Some things are still worth fighting for. Some things are already working. But your brain won't see that by default, because the default is danger. The default is negativity. The default is fear. That's how our species survived, scanning for what's wrong. But survival isn't enough for you anymore. You're not here to survive. You're here to thrive, to expand, to lead. And to do that, you need to train your brain to focus on what fuels you. To direct your thoughts like a warrior directs a blade, with precision, with power, with clarity. Gratitude gives you that control. It snaps you out of autopilot. It pulls you out of fear. It aligns you with strength. It reminds you that no matter what's missing, you're still standing on something solid. And when you write that down, when you physically put pen to paper, you lock that awareness into your nervous system. You become the kind of person who notices what's good, who extracts value from chaos, who stays centered when others spiral, who brings perspective into pressure. You walk into the same world everyone else is in, but you don't live in it the same way. Because while they're waiting for the conditions to feel right, you've already decided they are right, because you made them that way. And that shift, that single habit of writing down 3 things, it's not small, it's everything. Because it doesn't just change how you feel, it changes how you show up, how you speak, how you serve, how you lead, how you live, and people can feel it. You walk into a room with a grounded presence. You respond with more calm. You listen deeper. You lead from trust, not control, because you're not trying to fix everything. You're operating from a state of fullness, and that fullness, it magnetizes everything. People want to be around someone who doesn't need something from them. They want to follow someone who's already rooted. They want to trust someone who knows how to see the gold, even when it's buried. That's who you become when gratitude becomes your baseline. You want abundance? Act like you already have it, because you do. You want peace? Practice it when nothing feels peaceful. You want strength? Anchor it with awareness. And that awareness begins with 3 words, 3 thoughts, 3 lines written down each morning that say, I see it, I feel it, I honor it. Because the person who can find gratitude in the storm is the person who can't be stopped by it. You want to know what separates the average from the extraordinary? It's not talent. It's not luck. It's not access or upbringing. It's how they frame their lives. It's how they speak to themselves when no one is listening. It's how they wake up and choose to see. Gratitude is the lens of the extraordinary. It's not reactive, it's proactive. It doesn't wait for good days. It creates them. It doesn't require more. It reveals more. And when you make that choice over and over again, you begin to feel something rare in today's world. Alignment. You stop needing to chase your worth. You stop trying to impress the room. You stop performing for approval because you've already acknowledged your value to yourself. And when that happens, when you're deeply in tune with everything, that's already right. You stop showing up needy. You stop negotiating with your standards. You stop living like your joy is some distant reward you have to earn, because it's already here, in this breath, in this moment, in this life. Look around. You've overcome more than most people know. You've survived things that could have broken you. You've held on when it would have been easier to quit. You've endured pain and confusion and uncertainty, and you're still here. That alone is something to be deeply grateful for, but you forget that when you let the world tell you what's missing. When you wake up and scroll through someone else's curated highlight reel. When you judge your value by your productivity, your beauty by a filter, your success by a number. And that's the war we're in now. Not a war of weapons, a war of attention, a war of meaning, a war for your mind. And every time you write down what you're grateful for, you take your power back. You claim your own reality. You write your own narrative. You say, I decide what matters today. I decide what I see. I decide what gets my focus. Because you can't control everything in life, but you can control your frame. And once you change the frame, the picture changes. Suddenly, that situation that used to feel heavy becomes a lesson. That delay becomes redirection. That pain becomes preparation. That silence becomes sanctuary, and people will wonder, how are you still so grounded? How do you stay calm when everything's uncertain? How do you smile without pretending? They won't understand, because they've never practiced seeing the invisible blessings you've trained your eyes to find. But you'll know. You'll know it started the moment you stopped waiting for your life to be perfect and started appreciating it while it was still in progress. You'll know it started when you stopped chasing gratitude as a reaction and started choosing it as a discipline. Because that's what this is. It's not soft. It's not sentimental. It's not optional. It's foundational. The strongest people in the world don't always feel grateful, but they practice it. They choose it. They protect it because they know their future depends on their focus. And your focus? It's a muscle. You build it through repetition. So don't just write down 3 things today. Do it again tomorrow, and the next day, and the next. Even when it feels hard. Especially when it feels hard. Because those are the days when your gratitude matters most. Anyone can feel grateful when the sun is shining, but only those who are mastering themselves can feel grateful when it's dark. And still walk forward with purpose. That's what makes you different. That's what makes you unstoppable. And it's not about pretending everything is okay. It's about reminding yourself that some things still are. It's about zooming out, long enough to realize that the things you used to pray for, some of them are your reality now. You have access to more than you think. You are surrounded by more support than you recognize. You have opportunities buried in every challenge. But you'll never see them if you're always scanning for what's missing. So what's the real cost of not practicing gratitude? It's not just unhappiness, it's blindness. You miss the beauty in front of you. You miss the people who love you. You miss the quiet wins. You miss the strength inside you because you were too busy staring at someone else's progress. But when you shift that, when you start every day grounded, present, connected, you start building from wholeness, and that's when life opens. That's when momentum comes. That's when doors appear. That's when people start showing up who match your energy. Not because the world changed, but because you did. Because you trained your nervous system to stop needing more and start expanding with what you already have. And when that becomes your default, when gratitude becomes your operating system, everything feels lighter, not easier, lighter. Because now you're not dragging your past around. You're standing in the present, awake, aware, alive. And that is where everything great is built. So, pick up the pen, write down 3 things, then do it again and again and again, because that's not just journaling. That's you building the most important muscle in your life. Perspective. And perspective, it doesn't just change how you feel, it changes what you do. And that's what it always comes down to, doesn't it? Perspective. Not the circumstances, not the setbacks, not the noise around you. It's how you choose to see what's in front of you and who you choose to become in the middle of it, and gratitude. That's the gateway, the lens, the calibration point that brings you back from the stress, from the spiral, from the story that says, not enough, not yet, not good enough, not there. Gratitude interrupts that narrative. It slams on the brakes. It says, wait, look again, look deeper, look closer. This isn't failure, this is foundation. Because here's what you need to understand. Your gratitude is not a response to success. It's a precondition for it. It's not what you feel after you've built the business, landed the relationship, achieved the dream. It's what gets you through. The lonely mornings, the long nights, the silent stretches where nothing seems to be working and you keep going anyway. Because you still have something. You still have someone. You still have you. And if you can wake up and feel grounded in that truth day after day after day, you become unstoppable. Because the man or woman who lives in gratitude doesn't break under pressure, doesn't get rattled by rejection, doesn't drown in doubt. They've built their internal state in something more powerful than validation, awareness, and you can feel the difference. The person who walks into the room needing attention, needing applause, needing the world to notice them, they're fragile. But the person who walks in already anchored, already full, already clear on what matters, they carry a different kind of weight, a different kind of peace, a presence that says, I don't need to control the room, I already own myself. That's what gratitude does. It doesn't make you passive, it makes you dangerous, because it frees you from the need for more, and when you no longer need, you can create, you can lead, you can give without depletion, you can build without burning out, you can serve without sacrifice, because you're not pouring from lack, you're pouring from overflow. And overflow only comes when you realize how much you already have, right here, right now. The opportunity to breathe, to move, to choose, to speak, to fight again, to believe again, to build. 1 hour, one choice, one breath at a time. But you'll never see that if you're always looking at what someone else has. If you're always living in the future or locked in the past. If you're always chasing someday instead of honoring today, so what are you grateful for? Right now. Right in this breath, because there's always something, even in the storm, even in the valley, even in the dark. And when you learn to name it, you start to claim it, you start to expand it, you start to rise, because gratitude is a form of resistance. It's rebellion against the lie that says, you're not enough, this isn't enough, life is against you. No, life isn't against you. Life is responding to you, to your energy, to your focus, to your standards, to your level of awareness. And when you wake up every morning and start with 3 simple truths, 3 things you know are good. 3 things you feel in your bones. 3 things that remind you this moment is sacred. You train life to meet you at that level. Because gratitude is not just a journal entry. It's a signal. It sends a message to the world that says, I am ready for, or because I honor what I have. And the world responds. Opportunities open, people show up, synchronicities align. Not because magic is happening, but because you're finally paying attention to what's already there. And the more you pay attention, the more you elevate. And the more you elevate, the more you attract. And the more you attract, the more you become. It's not luck, it's not coincidence, it's cause and effect. Gratitude is the cause, expansion is the effect, but it only works if you practice it every day, no matter what, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard, because it's in those hard moments when your character is forged, when your future self is being shaped, when your perspective is the difference between a breakthrough and a breakdown. So write it down. 3 things. Every morning, every single day. Not because it's easy, but because it works, because it changes you. And when you change, everything changes. So here we are, right at the edge of everything you've ever wanted. And the only question that matters now is this. Will you choose to rise from what you already have? Or will you keep waiting for life to give you something more before you feel alive? Because if you don't choose gratitude now, you never will. Not when you get the job, not when you reach the goal. Not when your bank account finally looks the way you imagined. Not when your relationship feels perfect. Because by then, if you haven't trained yourself to feel it, you'll just move the target, you'll shift the goalpost. You'll keep chasing what you already have, but forgot to appreciate. That's the great tragedy of the modern world. We're surrounded by miracles we know, longer notice. We're standing in the middle of answered prayers, and all we can see is what's next. You want a life that feels fulfilling? You want a soul that doesn't shake when the wind blows? You want peace that can't be bought and power that can't be shaken? Then it's time to look inward. It's time to stand still long enough to see what's already right in front of you, and write it down. Don't trust your mind to remember it. Don't assume the feeling will stick. You write it down because that's the signal to yourself. This matters. 3 things. Every day. Non-negotiable. Before the world gets a piece of you, you claim your center. Because that's what the morning is. It's not a time of day, it's a territory. And either you claim it with awareness, or it gets stolen by noise. But you know better now. You've seen how quickly a moment of gratitude can snap you out of doubt. How a breath of awareness can dissolve anxiety. How a few written words can turn resistance into readiness. And that's what this is all about: readiness. You're not just writing 3 things you're grateful for. You're arming yourself. You're calibrating your nervous system. You're choosing to lead instead of follow, to command instead of react, to rise instead of scroll. Because in a world addicted to urgency, gratitude is presence. And presence is your superpower. It sharpens your instincts, it deepens your relationships, it elevates your creativity, it aligns you with the version of yourself that already knows what to do. That version, the one with peace in their eyes and fire in their soul, doesn't wait for the world to give them something to feel good about. They decide, they create. They declare it on paper before the sun rises, and that declaration becomes a code, a standard, a signal to the universe that says, I am no longer living by default, I am living by design, and I will build a life that expands from within. So let's stop pretending this is small. Let's stop brushing this off as simple. Gratitude is foundational. It's not a hack. It's not a trend. It's a discipline of the elite. And if you want to be elite, not in your image, but in your impact, then you need to own your state every morning, every breath, every line you write. Because if you can stay grounded in what's good, you can walk through anything. You can build under pressure. You can heal while hurting. You can lead while learning. You can grow while grieving. Because gratitude gives you the emotional capacity to hold both. The pain and the possibility, the storm and the seed, the wound and the wisdom. This is not about ignoring what's hard. It's about not forgetting what's still beautiful. That's strength. That's leadership. That's the mark of someone who will never be ordinary again. So take the pen. Every day, write. down 3 things. It could be the smile from a stranger, the silence before dawn, the strength you didn't know you had, the fire you feel coming back, the tiny miracle of being here now, alive, because that's where transformation begins. Not when life gets easier, but when your perspective gets sharper. And if you commit to this, if you build this one habit with ruthless consistency, your life will shift. Not because it got easier, but because you got deeper. You'll stop reacting, you'll stop chasing, you'll stop waking up in survival mode. You'll rise with clarity, you'll walk with alignment, you'll speak from depth, you'll build from peace. And that kind of person changes everything around them, because they've already changed everything inside them. All from 3 words, 3 thoughts, 3 lines written every morning by someone who finally decided to stop waiting and start honoring the life they've already been given. So write and keep writing. Because the person who practices gratitude daily is the person who becomes impossible to break.